The glittering skyline of Seoul concealed many secrets, but none was more earth-shattering than the one Lee MinHo stumbled upon, one that would turn his world upside down and ignite a whirlwind of scandal, betrayal, and forbidden love. It was supposed to be just another day on set, but destiny had other plans. Part 1. The Meeting of Two Worlds. Lee MinHo, Korea's most iconic actor and heartthrob, was known for his poise on screen and his discreet life off it. He had just wrapped a mega-hit drama and was taking a break in the coastal town of Gangneung, where he was rumored to be scouting locations for a new historical series he would also be producing. There, while visiting an old temple by the sea, he met her, Song Hye-kyo, not the famed actress, but a woman with the same name, haunting beauty, and a mysterious air. She wore a plain hanbok, helping monks with offerings. She didn't recognize him. At least, she pretended not to. Intrigued, MinHo returned the next day. Then the next. Their conversations were minimal but electric. She spoke like someone raised in refined tradition, but with a sadness in her eyes that betrayed a life far more complicated than she let on. Part 2. The Secret Life of Song Hye-kyo. Unbeknownst to Lee MinHo, the woman he was falling for wasn't just mysterious. She was living under an alias. Song Hye-kyo was actually the only daughter of Governor Song Jun-ho, the powerful and controversial political figure who ruled Jeollanam-do with an iron grip. To escape a suffocating life of arranged marriages, scandals, and surveillance, she had created a new identity and sought refuge in the coastal province. Her real name? Song Ji-yoon. She had been hiding for over 2 years, protected by monks, activists, and loyalists who detested her father's tyrannical rule. But she had grown tired of hiding, tired of love being a thing for others. Lee MinHo was the first man in years who made her laugh, question her silence, and want to live again. Part 3. Love in the Shadows. Their chemistry grew undeniable. They shared evenings under cherry blossoms, walks on rainy roads, and stolen glances across quiet temples. She watched him with awe, amused that the nation's favorite leading man didn't know who she really was. MinHo was captivated. He had never met someone who listened like she did, or challenged him so fearlessly. Still, there were oddities. Why did she flinch at the sound of police sirens? Why did she never let him visit her place? Why was she once spotted speaking in fluent Mandarin to a man in a black car? He didn't ask. Not yet. Love had clouded his judgment. Part 4. The Reveal That Shook Seoul. Everything changed when Lee MinHo received an anonymous envelope. Inside was a photograph of Song Hye-kyo, standing beside Governor Song, in full ceremonial attire. Another showed her at a luxury gala in Shanghai. A final photo showed her being escorted into a private jet by armed men. At first, he thought it was a smear campaign. But when he confronted her, her hands trembling, her face pale, she whispered, "I wanted to tell you. I just didn't know how." The truth came out like thunder. Her father, Governor Song, had been grooming her to marry into a rival political family. But Ji-yoon had rejected the plan and disappeared. Her escape caused political tension across provinces, leading to a nationwide manhunt that the press had been paid to cover up. Now, the daughter of Korea's most feared governor had fallen in love with the nation's most beloved star. Part 5. The Backlash and the Power Game. News broke out within hours. Headlines screamed, Lee MinHo's mystery lover revealed, the missing heiress of Governor Song. Nation star entangled in political scandal. Fans turned against him. Brands pulled sponsorships. Drama producers halted contracts. But worst of all, the governor himself issued a veiled threat during a televised speech. Traitors shall be corrected, whether by the law or otherwise. MinHo's agency urged him to cut ties. His closest friends advised silence. But he refused. "I won't abandon her," he declared during an impromptu press conference. Love should never be a crime. Part 6. Flight and Fury. The couple fled Seoul in secret, helped by an underground journalist group who had long been investigating Governor Song's corruption. Hunted by private security and the NIS, they moved from island to island, hiding in fishing towns, temple basements, and even an abandoned lighthouse on Jeju. During this time, their bond deepened. They weren't just lovers. They were fugitives, revolutionaries, partners in a truth that the nation wasn't ready for. They documented everything: photos, audio recordings, documents revealing Governor Song's offshore accounts, illegal arms deals, and even political assassinations disguised as accidents. They were ready to expose the truth. Part 7. The Storm Breaks. On a stormy summer night, Lee MinHo and Song Ji-eun uploaded a bombshell 90-minute documentary online, titled, "The Governor's Daughter, My Name is Song Ji-eun." It went viral within minutes. The site crashed. Hashtags exploded. The public opinion, once against them, shifted violently in their favor. Thousands marched in protest. Investigations were reopened. The National Assembly convened an emergency session. Governor Song was arrested within 48 hours. His empire crumbled. Part 8. Love wins. Or does it? But freedom came at a cost. Lee MinHo, though praised by the youth, was blacklisted by powerful figures who lost billions. Major networks banned him. His agency terminated his contract. But he didn't care. He had already started writing his own film script, based on their true story. Song Ji-eun, now free to reclaim her identity, declined political offers. Instead, she chose to build a non-profit foundation for women in hiding. They now live in a quiet part of Canada, away from the flashbulbs of Seoul, where MinHo writes and she teaches literature. But once a year, on the anniversary of the documentary, they return to Korea, walk the streets hand in hand, and remind the world what real love looks like. Epilogue. Legacy of a secret love. Their love story, once forbidden, scandalous, and dangerous, became a legend. A tale told in universities, dissected in think pieces, and adapted into films. One scene, more than any, still gives chills to audiences. Lee MinHo, standing on the steps of the Blue House, whispers to Ji-eun, "I didn't just fall in love with you. I fell in love with your war." And she replies, her voice calm but burning, "Then let's win it together." Beneath the serene skies of Gangneung, where the waves licked the shore with a rhythmic hum, Lee MinHo had unknowingly stepped into the most pivotal chapter of his life. His decision to visit the seaside temple that afternoon had been spontaneous. He wasn't seeking love, revelation, or mystery. He was simply trying to breathe again after months of camera flashes, fan meetings, and false smiles. But fate had different plans. A chance encounter or a fated meeting. She stood at the edge of the temple courtyard, arranging bowls of rice and incense like she belonged to another century. Song Hye-kyo, or so she said, was dressed modestly, her long hair tied in a low braid, her eyes quiet but constantly searching. MinHo watched her from a distance at first, uncertain if she was part of the temple staff or just another visitor. She barely looked at him, which in itself was rare. He was used to being stared at, recognized, chased. But this woman didn't so much as flinch in his presence. Curiosity gripped him. He walked closer, offering a soft greeting in Korean. "You're not from around here, are you?" she asked without looking up, her voice smooth but detached. He smiled. "Shouldn't I be the one asking that?" That was the beginning, an unnamed pull. The next day, he returned. Not because of the view or the weather, but because of her. She was reading a book beneath a cherry blossom tree, legs crossed, a straw hat shading her face. Again, no fanfare, no excitement at seeing the Lee MinHo, just a faint smile, as if amused that he was back. "Still not from around here," she teased without lifting her gaze from the book. "Maybe I'm thinking of moving," he replied, taking a seat beside her on the bench. Their conversations remained surface level at first. Books, the ocean, food, but she had a way of making everything sound profound. She wasn't like the women he'd known, those drawn to his fame, status, or charm. She didn't try to impress. In fact, she seemed to be hiding something, and that made him want to know her even more. The storm and the spark. It was during a sudden coastal rainstorm that something shifted. The clouds rolled in fast. Most temple visitors fled. MinHo ducked beneath the bell tower, only to find her already there, soaked and shivering, arms wrapped around herself. He took off his coat without a word and wrapped it around her. Their eyes locked. Closed now. Too close. The rain fell hard and cold, but the silence between them burned like fire. "Why are you really here?" she whispered. "Why are you really hiding?" he replied. She looked away, startled. Her fingers clenched the edge of his coat. "I'm not hiding." "Then tell me who you are." "Really?" But she didn't. Instead, she turned to face him fully, raindrops dripping from her eyelashes. She touched his face, brief, trembling. "Don't ask me that. Not yet." She walked out into the rain and vanished behind the temple wall. He didn't see her again for 3 days. The mask slips. When they met again, she wasn't dressed in the temple garb. She wore a black trench coat, dark sunglasses, and was speaking fluent Chinese into a burner-phone beside a parked luxury SUV. MinHo had been walking to the village market when he spotted her across the alleyway. He stopped, watched, confused. She hadn't seen him yet. "Tell my father I'm not coming back," she snapped in Mandarin. "Tell him if he sends another man after me, I'll go public with the ledger." Then she turned and locked eyes with MinHo. Her face froze. So did his. Without a word, she ended the call and slowly walked toward him, eyes scanning for threats, her mask cracking. "You weren't supposed to see that," she said quietly. "Too late. I can explain." "Please do." They stood under the awning of a bookstore, both drenched in tension. "I'm not who you think I am," she finally said. "My name isn't Song Hai Kyo. That was the name I gave because it's common. Easy to forget. My real name is Song Ji-yoon. I'm the daughter of Governor Song Jun-ho." The words felt like gunshots. Lee MinHo stepped back. The governor, the same man accused of corruption, bribery, and silencing whistleblowers. The man who allegedly orchestrated political accidents. His daughter? "Why are you here?" he asked, stunned. "Because I don't want to be part of that world anymore." She was crying now, but not out of fear, out of exhaustion. "I ran away 2 years ago. I've been living in pieces ever since. Changing names, changing lives, but I was never supposed to fall in love." That last sentence hit him like lightning. A dangerous spark ignites. From that moment, nothing was the same. MinHo didn't walk away. He couldn't. He knew the danger. The cameras, the politics, the headlines that would erupt if this got out. But he also knew that she had told him the truth when she had no reason to. She trusted him, and he, against all reason, was already in too deep. They began meeting in secret, inside bookstores, at quiet beach cafes after midnight, behind the temple gardens. Every meeting was a risk, but every conversation grew deeper. She told him about her childhood behind guarded walls, her escape through a forged passport, and the night she faked her own abduction to disappear. And he told her things he'd never told anyone, about the loneliness of fame, the pressure of perfection, the emptiness that even awards couldn't fill. They were two people from two extremes, bound by secrets and drawn by something far more dangerous than politics. Love. Cliffhanger ending for part 1. But one night, as they walked along the deserted beach under a moonlit sky, a black SUV pulled up in the distance. She froze. "They found me," she whispered. "Who?" MinHo asked, already moving in front of her. "My father's men." The engine revved. Headlights flashed on. MinHo grabbed her hand. "Run." They sprinted into the forest beyond the shore as the SUV followed, tires kicking up sand. Somewhere between the trees and the shadows, he realized. This wasn't just love anymore. This was war.